Alright, we're going to start out with numbers of buttons, down, down, and the name of the chord. But easy enough, we're going to start with the many ways you can play. It's not technically it doesn't have the root except for the bass side. You can use that as the root. That's a root of G. You don't have the root of G on the pull. So all you have for a G chord is B and D. So alright, so now that's 1, 2, 3 down for the first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down for the next one. Use whatever finger's more comfortable, your pinky or your ring finger. I pretended to use my ring finger here, but you can just use your pinky, right? That's a very important chord, especially in Cajun music. And you can play it again in the middle. So it's button number 6 and 7 on the pull. That's going mid. So like when you're bouncing around up here, you can pull that chord out up here when you're playing notes. You can pull it out when you're in the middle, pull it out when you're down here, pull it out when you're up here too. So that's button number 6 and button number 7. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 6 and 7. On the pull. This is all pull. Now here's the first one again, the low one. I sometimes do it like this with even just my middle finger, but usually my ring finger. But pinky works, right? Now remember that's your basis of the scale, right? For the lower. And if you want to go up, you got the middle. 6, 7. Now 7 and 10 makes the high one, and you know this. You know when you hear it, right? You know that. So that's very important in Cajun music. Now, I try to keep this short, so I didn't even have that stop up. Alright, so now we'll play a D chord. And this, I do down the scale, up the buttons. Button number 3 and button number 5, right? And if I'm up here, down the scale, I use my middle finger and my ring finger. But that might not be comfortable for you. You can use your ring finger and your index finger. I don't know if I got that messed up. That's more ideal right there. But I do it like this. I've developed that habit watching Mark Savoy. At first it was so hard. But then eventually it just came naturally. But like I said, but that's a D in the lower sense. And like with the G chord, it's without the root note G chord. You've got the D up here too, in the middle. Button number 5 and button number 7 on the pull. Yeah. Number 5, number 7. And you can do that again on button number 7 and number 9 on the pull. So you got 3 ways of doing a D chord, 3 ways of doing a G chord. But in truth, they're partial chords. The bass side makes up for that. But in reality, with real bands, they have other members to make up for the missing chords, or notes in the chord, because they can play along with anything. Band members. Wow. This is a band in a box. That's all I can say. But anyway, so G, D, And sometimes I play D like this up here. Sometimes I play like this. Sometimes, you know, like it's all depending on where I am in the song. So anyway, just learning the chords all up and down this. And the chord charts will be very useful because, like, imagine you have printouts of a bunch of circles, and the only ones that are blackened out are the ones that need to be pushed, and you could put the title over the chord. A visual representation. Eventually you won't have to look at your keyboard. And when you get to that point, then you know you've learned the chords. I mean, as far as Cajun music and all this stuff goes, like, people have tried to write it all out. It doesn't work. I go by Savoie's opinions because you have to learn by ear. He tried the whole numbering system and all that, and it didn't really work out for people, and they weren't learning because they were not learning by ear. And that's the only way you can do it. But you can learn by ear, but by knowing, you know, like, see, you have much experience with instruments, so this one's a little weird, but it's not impossible. But the way I show things is like they are. I don't pull out like numbering charts. I mean, the only thing I number are the buttons on the, but I don't play songs like that. That has to come by ear and by your brain and by your heart if you're into it that much. And I know you got stuff going on. I got stuff going on too, and that's okay. But like, yeah, okay. So we're gonna do that again. These chords, the G. That's not a root G. The only root G on the pull is this. That's the only root G on the pull that matches the bass side. Watch, isn't that weird? All the other G's are on the push. Sorry for embellishing, I just can't help it. It feels good just kind of swiping into that chord like that, like, shit, whoops. But that's later, man. I'm just showing. I'm not showing off. Just showing you what can be had. It's easy. It's easy. It's easy. You just gotta have the arms to do it. And I don't know if I can turn this thing on.